Welcome back to Gotham Trends, listeners. Sometimes we stumble across stories that sound so wild, so out there, you almost dismiss them as fiction. But what if? What if there's a grain of truth hidden within the fantastical?
Right.
That's exactly what we're exploring today with the Lerta Files. It's a collection of accounts from a journalist who had a truly bizarre encounter with a woman claiming to be from an advanced subterranean species. And trust me, this story takes us deep into the heart of some truly mind-boggling questions about humanity's origins and our place in the cosmos. To help us sift through this intricate web of claims, we have an expert in deciphering complex narratives and separating fact from fiction.
It's a pleasure to be here. The Lerta Files are a fascinating case study, blending elements of history, science fiction, and conspiracy theories in a way that's both captivating and intellectually stimulating.
Let's dive right into the heart of this mystery. This journalist, known only as Old K, was apparently a renowned skeptic, someone who debunked paranormal claims for a living. And then he meets Lerta. What happened during that encounter that made him take her claims seriously?
Well, according to Old K's notes, Lerta didn't just tell him she was non-human, she seemed to demonstrate it. He describes his pencil levitating, his coffee instantly freezing, and a palpable energy shift in the room. Imagine being a staunch skeptic, confronted with seemingly impossible phenomena right before your eyes. It's no wonder Old K felt compelled to document everything.
That's quite the opening act. It sounds like Lerta was determined to make an impression. But what exactly is she claiming? What's her story?
Lerta's story is a complex one, but the core of it is this. Humanity was engineered by an alien species called the Ilim. They came to Earth, seeking copper, and created us as a workforce, genetically manipulating primitive apes 1.5 million years ago to create the first humans.
Okay, hold on. If they needed miners, why not just bring their own workforce? Why go through the trouble of creating an entirely new species?
That's a good question, and one that Lerta's account doesn't fully answer, but it does suggest that the Ilim were experimenting, trying to create the perfect mining species. We are, according to Lerta, actually the seventh version of humans.
The seventh version. So there were 6 previous versions of humanity. What happened to them?
Lerta claims they were deemed failures and wiped out. Each version was tested and discarded, leading up to us, the current model.
That's both intriguing and a little disturbing, if true. It reframes our entire understanding of human history. But how does this connect to those ancient structures we find around the world? The pyramids, underwater ruins, and things that seem far too advanced for the time periods they're attributed to.
That's where things get even more fascinating. Lerta claims those structures were built by earlier human versions. For example, she attributes the Great Pyramid of Giza to a previous iteration of humanity, 75,000 years ago, not the Egyptians of 2500 BC. The underwater ruins near Bimini, she says, were built by the 6th version of humans, 16,000 years ago.
So we're talking about lost civilizations, advanced technologies, and a hidden history that predates our accepted timelines. It's like those whispers of alternative archaeology suddenly gained a voice.
Exactly, and it raises some thought-provoking questions. If these structures were indeed built by earlier versions of humanity, what level of technology did they possess, and why were these civilizations wiped out?
Speaking of advanced technology, didn't a scientist, Dr. James Gates, find something unusual in human DNA?
Yeah.
Something that suggests a level of complexity beyond what we might expect from natural evolution.
Yes, Dr. Gates discovered error-correcting codes embedded in human DNA. These codes are similar to those used in computer programming, which raises the question, could our DNA have been deliberately designed?
That's a mind-blowing thought. But if we were designed, what was our purpose? Was it just to mine copper, or was there something more to it?
Well, that's where Lerta's account takes a darker turn. She claims that humans weren't just intended to be miners. We were designed as living weapons.
Living weapons? That sounds terrifying. What does that even mean? What were we supposed to be fighting?
Lerta's account is a bit vague on that point. She suggests that the Ilim were engaged in some kind of conflict with another alien species, and humans were created to be their ultimate weapon. She even hints that our capacity for aggression and technological advancement were intentionally engineered for this purpose.
So we were essentially bred for war. It's a chilling thought. And where do these subterranean cities fit into all this? I'm thinking of Kuyu in Turkey, which is a vast underground city with advanced ventilation, water systems, and even artificial sunlight.
Lerta claims that Kuyu is just one entrance to a vast network of underground cities where another species, the reptilian tern, reside. She says they were forced underground after a cataclysmic war with the Ilim over, you guessed it, copper.
Wait, reptilian beings living beneath our feet. That sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel. Who are the Turn, and what are their motives?
Lorna doesn't provide much detail about the Turn's origins or their current goals. She simply describes them as an ancient and advanced species with their own agenda, one that may or may not align with humanity's.
Okay, so we have engineered humans, lost civilizations, subterranean cities, and an ancient war over copper. It's almost too much to process. But I have to ask, if the Ilim are coming back, as Lerta claims, what does that mean for us? Are they coming to finish their work on us? To turn us into the ultimate weapons?
That's the unsettling question Lerta leaves us with. She doesn't explicitly state their intentions, but she does warn that their return could have profound implications for humanity's future.
This is getting intense. We're just scratching the surface of this incredibly complex and mind-boggling story. There's so much more to unpack, particularly about the mysterious properties of copper and those dormant psychic abilities Lerta mentioned. We'll be back after a quick break to delve deeper into those fascinating aspects of the Lerta Files. Stay with us. All right, we're back and ready to delve deeper into some of the most intriguing aspects of the Lerta Files. Before the break, we were discussing the possibility of engineered humans and an ancient war over copper. But Lerta also dropped some other bombshells, specifically about copper having extraordinary properties and humans possessing dormant psychic abilities. Let's start with those psychic abilities: telepathy, telekinesis, the stuff of science fiction.
Right.
Is there any scientific basis for these claims?
It's certainly a controversial topic. While mainstream science hasn't accepted psychic abilities as a proven phenomenon, there have been documented cases of individuals exhibiting extraordinary abilities that defy conventional explanation. Think of people who seem to know what someone's going to say before they say it, or those who claim to move objects with their minds.
I can see how those accounts would be both fascinating and a bit unsettling. But if these abilities are real, why aren't they more common? Why aren't we all levitating objects and reading each other's thoughts?
Lerta suggests that these abilities are dormant within us, suppressed or locked away in our DNA. She even links this suppression to the Ilim's manipulation of humanity. Think of it like a genetic switch that's been turned off.
Okay, so how do we flip that switch? How do we unlock these potential superpowers?
That's the million-dollar question, and one that Lerta's account doesn't fully address. She mentions that Earth's shifting magnetic fields could play a role in reactivating these abilities. Some researchers believe that electromagnetic fields can influence biological processes, so that it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we on the verge of a global psychic awakening? Will we all be telepathic mind readers by next Tuesday?
That's probably a bit far-fetched. But the idea that we might possess untapped potential, abilities that we haven't even begun to understand, is certainly intriguing.
It also raises some ethical concerns. Imagine a world where everyone can read each other's thoughts.
Yeah.
What would that do to privacy, trust, even our sense of self?
You raise an important point. The idea of psychic abilities raises a whole host of ethical and societal questions that we as a species would need to grapple with. It's a concept that's both exciting and potentially dangerous.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about copper. Lerta claims that this seemingly ordinary metal holds the key to some incredibly advanced technologies, including the ability to manipulate gravity, space, and time. How is that even possible? What's so special about copper?
From a conventional scientific standpoint, Lerta's claims about copper are pretty outlandish. Our current understanding of physics doesn't support the idea that copper can manipulate fundamental forces, like gravity. However, copper has played a significant role in human history and culture for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's used in everything from wiring and plumbing to jewelry and even medicine. It's always been a valuable resource.
Precisely. And many ancient cultures viewed copper as a sacred metal associated with healing, protection, and even divine power. It's interesting to note that Lerta's claims, though scientifically questionable, tap into this historical and cultural fascination with copper.
Could it be that Lerta's account is a blend of fact and metaphor, a way of expressing something that's difficult to articulate in literal terms? Maybe the truth about copper lies somewhere between its practical uses and its mystical symbolism.
That's a possibility worth considering. Perhaps Lerta's use of copper as a key to advanced technology is a way of conveying a deeper truth about its significance. Maybe it's not about manipulating gravity literally, but about its ability to connect us to something larger than ourselves, to unlock hidden potential within humanity.
It's like she's using the language of myth and allegory, to express a concept that transcends our current scientific understanding.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that science is constantly evolving. What seems impossible today might become commonplace tomorrow.
So are you saying we shouldn't dismiss Lerta's claims about copper entirely? That there might be something there, even if we don't fully understand it yet?
I think it's important to approach these kinds of stories with a healthy dose of skepticism, but also with a sense of open-mindedness. After all, history is full of examples where what was once considered fantastical turned out to be true.
I completely agree. We can't just dismiss something as outlandish without exploring all the possibilities.
And that's what makes the Lerta Files so compelling. It challenges our preconceptions and encourages us to question the boundaries of what we think we know.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here, from psychic abilities
Mm-hmm.
to the mysterious properties of copper. But Lerta's story doesn't end there. She also hints at something called the Chicxulub crater and an ancient cataclysm that reshaped our planet. What can you tell us about that?
The Chicxulub crater, located in the Yucatan Peninsula, is believed to be the impact site of an asteroid that struck Earth roughly 66 million years ago.
Yeah, the one that's thought to have wiped out the dinosaurs.
Exactly. Now, Lerta connects this impact event to the ancient war between the Ilim and the Turn.
Hold on. She's saying that the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs was a weapon. That's a pretty bold claim.
It certainly is. She suggests that this impact was not a random cosmic event, but a deliberate act of war, a devastating blow that ultimately forced the Turn underground and reshaped the course of life on Earth.
So we're talking about a war of unimaginable scale, a conflict that literally changed the face of our planet. It's hard to even fathom something like that.
It's a truly mind-boggling concept, and it raises some profound questions about the nature of cosmic events and the possibility of intelligent intervention in our planet's history.
This is getting way too deep for me. We've gone from psychic abilities in copper to a planet-altering war. It's almost as if we're piecing together a cosmic puzzle, one that challenges our understanding of history, science, and our place in the universe.
That's a great way to put it. The Lerta Files are like a puzzle box, full of intriguing pieces that don't always seem to fit together, but the process of trying to assemble them, of exploring different perspectives and possibilities, is what makes it so intellectually stimulating.
And sometimes the most compelling puzzles. The ones that leave us with more questions than answers.
Absolutely. The search for truth is often a journey, not a destination.
Well said. Listeners, we've only scratched the surface of the Lerta Files, and as you can tell, it's a story that's both captivating and challenging. But there's one crucial aspect we haven't fully explored yet, Lerta's warnings about the Ilim's return. What does that mean for humanity? Are we on the brink of a cosmic reckoning? We'll delve into that unsettling question and wrap up our deep dive into this extraordinary tale right after this. Welcome back, Gotham Trends listeners. We've been on quite a journey with the Lerta Files, haven't we? Engineered humans, ancient wars, psychic abilities, a planet-altering impact events, a lot to wrap our heads around. But before we go, there's one last piece of this puzzle we need to examine. Lerta's warns about the Ilim's return. What does she think will happen when they get here?
That's the million-dollar question. And Lerta's account is unsettlingly vague on this point. She doesn't paint a clear picture of what their return will look like or what their intentions are. It leaves us with a sense of foreboding, a lingering question mark, hanging over humanity's future.
It's like a cliffhanger ending to a science fiction movie, leaving you with that feeling of what happens next.
Okay, so based on what we've learned from the Lerta Files, what are some possible scenarios? Are we talking about an all-out alien invasion or something more subtle, like genetic manipulation on a grand scale?
Given Lerta's claims about our engineered origins and their goal of creating living weapons, it's not unreasonable to speculate that they might try to exert further control over humanity. Perhaps they see us as a project that needs to be completed, a tool to be sharpened for some unknown purpose.
That's a pretty chilling thought. It raises the question of free will. If we were indeed engineered, do we have any agency in our own destiny? Or are we just pawns in a cosmic game, being played by forces beyond our comprehension? It's a philosophical question that has puzzled thinkers for centuries. And the Lerta Files certainly adds another layer of complexity to this debate. If Lerta's account is true, it suggests that our choices, our actions, might be influenced by genetic predispositions that we're not even aware of.
It's like we're characters in a play whose script was written long ago, and we're just reciting our lines. But even within a predetermined script, there's room for interpretation, for individual expression. Maybe that's where our free will lies. in the choices we make, within the parameters of our existence.
That's a thought-provoking perspective. Perhaps it's not about absolute freedom, but about navigating the complexities of our existence, making choices that shape our individual and collective destinies, even within a framework that's been established for us.
So, where does this leave us? What are we supposed to do with this information? Start building underground bunkers
Mm.
and stockpiling copper?
I wouldn't recommend that. I think the real value of exploring stories like the Lerta Files is not in preparing for a specific outcome, but in expanding our awareness, our understanding of the vast possibilities that exist beyond our everyday perceptions. It's about questioning our assumptions and challenging the boundaries
Yes.
of what we think we know.
It's about embracing the mystery, the unknown, and the possibility that our reality is far more complex and interconnected
Yeah.
than we ever imagined.
Exactly. And it's about fostering a sense of wonder and curiosity about the universe and our place within it.
Well said. The Lerta Files may not provide all the answers, but it certainly raises some fascinating questions. And isn't that what makes life interesting? The constant exploration, the search for meaning, the willingness to challenge our own perspectives and embrace the unknown.
Absolutely. It's the journey, not the destination, that truly enriches our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
Well, listeners, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the Lerta Files. It's been a mind-bending journey through a labyrinth of extraordinary claims and unsettling possibilities. We hope you've enjoyed the ride.
And we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds open. The universe is full of mysteries, waiting to be discovered.
If you're hungry for more deep dives into fascinating and thought-provoking topics, be sure to subscribe to Gotham Trends. We'll be back soon with another episode that's sure to challenge your perceptions and leave you wanting more. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds open.